The date is 10/20/2012. What you're looking at here is my DJI with a GoPro and a camera mount gimbal setup that was actually a gift. It was a gift from a fellow that I helped set up his model and get his NASA programmed. What you're seeing here is a makeshift hood, and the makeshift hood was nothing more than a Sprite box. So the box worked out really well, and I was able to fly my first FPV today. This shows a cable that I made to get video from the GoPro to the RC logger. And here is video of the flight, and have a few stories to tell about this particular flight. And we'll start by, you may notice that I took off and flew to the edge of the runway, and now the model's in a hover, and it's actually pretty windy. So what I did in order to get under the hood was I brought the model to a hover, and after it was in flight I donned the hood, and I stay under the hood until near the end of the flight. Now at this point I'm under the hood and flying 100% FPV, and I'm going to pick a spot out here, and my spot happens to be the sandy area just because I can see it, and it's a pretty long strip, and there's a couple of landmarks. You notice there's a blue building in the background here. That would be toward the west, and then toward the south is the runway and my vehicle and the shelter area by the runway. And then of course on over to the north, which I don't show you, but there is a red barn. So I have some pretty good landmarks. Here you can see the red barn coming into view. Also notice that I'm not doing a lot of abrupt maneuvers. I'm just kind of tooling around, trying to stay steady. And again, this was my first time here. I'm checking out the gimbal to see, how it responds to abrupt turns, or in this case an abrupt tilt to the left or right. And again, I'm just now I'm testing the camera angle, because I can move the camera to about any spot that I want, up and down. And I'm also again staying near this safe area, as I call it, because I give this a lot of thought before I did it. So as you can see in this video, I'm really patient with the idea of flying. So it's one of those things where here I'm practicing what I preach. I had a flight plan and I stuck to it. And again, I just wanted to come out here and mess around the road. I figure if I got in trouble, if I got disoriented, worst case scenario, I just shut the power off and let it land here, versus being over trees or in a field somewhere where I have to trample through some stuff to get my model back. So at any rate, I just tooled around, and here I've started to get comfortable. So now I'm kind of heading back toward the runway, but I'm going to be very cautious here because I did not want to cross over the center point of the runway. So you'll notice there's 3 lines on our runway, and those are the seams of the material. And I made it a point to try not to cross the first seam, but if I did cross the first seam, then I would not cross the second. And you can see that I actually got really close to the first seam, but I don't think I crossed it. You can see that it's there below, and right here I'm right above it, but I didn't cross it. So now I'm going to kind of back up a little bit, and you can see that it's right underneath me. But at any rate, I was comfortable getting to that point, so now I decided I would fly back to where I came from. And this was actually pretty cool. I must admit, the hood that I came up with was a spur-of-the-moment thing, and it worked out really well. And I actually enjoyed just the open area of flying the FPV, so it was pretty cool. Here I'm going to turn and come back, and again I'm just wanting to understand and get the feel of flying without actually seeing the model. So it's a totally different perspective, and you're going to find out here in just a minute that I did have a little incident, and nothing of a real significance. It's kind of funny though. Now that it's over with, it wasn't funny at the time, but what happened was, you can see here, I'm actually moving over to, I'm going to land because my flight is coming near the end. And so I figured, okay, to land it, I'm going to do exactly reverse of what I did to get started. In other words, I'm going to put the model in a hover, I'm going to take off the hood, and then I'm going to bring it over and land it. Pretty simple, right? Well, not exactly. Because what I wound up doing was putting the model in a hover and then taking the hood off and then looking for the model, and I could not find the model. I could hear it, but I could not see it, and the reason I couldn't see it is because it was in the background was sort of camo in the or hiding the frame. So again, I could hear it, but I could not see it. But at any rate, I donned the hood back on and took a look at what I could see, and then I realized where I was looking, or where I should be looking. And here's actually a look inside of the hood, and you can see there's a lot of light there. But if you put your head in there or block the area, you can actually see that really well. But again, this was the first flight, and it was on 10/20 of 2012, and with a simple hood made from a cardboard box.